Dear attendees, we are starting our webinar. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Damili Tungatarova. I am a senior associate at the registration division. The main purpose of today's webinar is to increase awareness and new amendments among our participants. Today, my colleagues from registration division will provide you with information about new amendments to the AIFC Legal Entities Framework and online post-registration process. There are two main topics on today's agenda. The first main topic is introduction of the new amendments to AIFC Legal Entities Framework, and subtopics as extending powers of BOD, clarity of allotment, standard constitutional documents, new audit requirements for private companies, LLP and NPIOs, and status of director of company, and of course, registration fees. And 5 minutes for Q&A session. And the second main topic is online post-registration process. Subtopics is automated post-registration processes and perspective go-live post-registration process. Each speaker will take 15 minutes and 5 minutes for Q&A session. And my colleague, Laura Nurgalieva, a supervisor of registration division, will start. So Laura, you're welcome.
Thank you, Damili. Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from the registration division. Happy to see you again in the new year. Hope everyone is doing well and safe. Also appreciate for your participation. And before moving on to the main topics of today's webinar, let me just briefly sum up the results of work which has been done by the registration division during the last year. In the last year, we mainly focused on the enhancement and the usability of the AIFC Legal Entity Framework. And over the past year, we have successfully completed a few cases on the scheme of arrangement and the first case on merger between AIFC participants. I'm sorry, could you please turn on your microphone? Thank you. And also, we have completed the first case on a liquidation. So another aspect of our work, which we devote a lot of time, is the digitalization and automation of our business processes. So as you know, in September 2022, the registration process was fully automated and switched to online process. And it has been demonstrating the positive and good results in registration. So similarly to this, we have started working on the automation of post-registration services. Later today, my colleague Anara will introduce some updates on post-registration in details to you. And regarding the plans, our plans for this year, we are going to focus on monitoring of AIFC participants in this year, and certainly we will continue working on enhancement of the digital processes of our division. In general, our goal is to ensure the high quality and fast services, as well as the convenient and flexible business environment to our participants. So hope the webinar will be useful for you and you will enjoy it. And now let me move on to the first topic. So there are some amendments to the AIFC Legal Entity Framework, which were approved in October and November in the last year and commenced on the 1st of January of 2022. So the new amendments cover the legislation administered by the Registrar of Companies. Particularly, they are AIFC Companies Regulations, AIFC Companies Rules, AIFC Foundations Regulations, AIFC General Partnership Regulations and Rules, Limited Liability Partnership Regulations and Rules, Limited Partnership Regulations and Rules, and AIFC Nonprofit Incorporated Organizations Regulations. Also, there are some amendments to the AIFC fees rules related to the registration fees. The next slide, please. Thank you. And the first amendment is addressed to the powers of the board of directors. So previously, according to the AIFC company's regulations, a company must not alter its share capital otherwise than by resolution, and the board of directors company, while exercising its powers, may only allot shares if it is authorized by the articles of association or ordinary resolution. So after certain amendments to the subsection 3 and subsection 5 of section 44 of the AIFC company's regulations, the powers of the board have been extended, and now the board of directors, in addition to power to allot shares, also may issue new shares. So considering the proposal amendments, the approach and practice of New Zealand was used here. Next slide, please, Demili, thank you. And the next amendment is more of clarifying nature rather than the innovation. Actually, nothing has been changed here, except that we brought some clarity to the issue and allotment concepts. So previously, the wording of section 43 and section 98 created some confusion when it comes to understanding what issue and allotment mean and what happens first. So the section 43 and section 98 were amended by revising the wording of these sections. Thus, the section 43 states that a public company must have an allotted share capital instead of previously wording issued and allotted of no less than 100,000 USD at any time. And section 98 states that the quorum at the meeting dealing with a variation of any class rights is the number of shareholders holding or representing by proxy at least 1/3 in nominal value of the issued shares of the class instead of issued and allotted, instead of previous wording. So the next amendments are very clear and straightforward. Previously, standard constitutional documents were available only for private company, public company, and non-profit incorporated organization. And from the 1st of January, it is also available for foundations, by introduction of standard foundation charter and bylaws, general partnership agreement for GPs, limited partnership agreement for LPs, and limited liability partnership agreement for LLPs. Just a reminder that if an entity registered in the AIFC adopts a standard constitutional document, it is not required to sign and submit it to the registrar during the incorporation. Also, there are some positive changes for the private companies and especially for LLPs and NPIOs. So previously, the requirement for LLPs and NPIOs to file accounts that must be examined and reported on by an auditor, that previously was mandatory to LLPs and NPIOs, and now LLPs, which an annual turnover does not exceed 5 million USD, it is not necessary to file audited accounts to this LLP, and the same to the non-profit incorporated organization. If its gross annual income does not exceed 500,000 USD, the audited accounts cannot be provided to the registrar. And in relation to private companies, previous requirement on the number of on the average number of shareholders was excluded from the AIFC companies regulations, remaining only the previous threshold for its annual turnover. So moving to the next slide. Here is the amendment relates to the company's director status. If you remember previously, AIFC companies regulations defined a director as an employee of a company. And that meant that a director and employer must comply with the AIFC employment framework, and they have to enter into a contract of employment. For some of companies, this caused some difficulties related to additional costs and additional obligations. And from the 1st of January, by the introduction of the new definition for employee, a company may itself to decide if it wants to decide itself if it wants to hire a director on the basis of a contract of employment, or have a director perform his or her duties without getting into an employment relationship. So this amendment brought some additional flexibility to the AIFC Acting law. And another important change relates to the registration fees. As I already mentioned, that registration process was fully switched to online process in 2022, and the turnaround time has been shortened from 5 business days to 2 business days on average. And in our opinion, it is more convenient and requires less human involvement on our side. So based on the international are distinguished to online forms and paper-based forms, and there are new amendments introduce different registration fees, 3,000 USD for online application forms and 500 fees for paper-based application forms. By online, we mean an application submitted via digital resident portal. Also, I would like to bring your attention that registration fees for foundations remain the same, 400 USD. So, and the last but not least, there are some amendments for NPIO, for NPIOs and foundations related to anti-money laundering, combating financing terrorism, compliance. New amendments provide new parts to the non-profit incorporated organizations regulations and foundations regulations. So from the 1st of January, all NPIOs and foundations have additional AML CFT obligations, and they have to carry out transactions through financial institutions under AML CFT supervision, notify the AFSA on complex or unusual transactions, and also they have to keep records and file report on suspicious activities to the Financial Intelligence Unit of Kazakhstan. At the end, I just want to add that some technical amendments were made to the AIFC Acts in order to make them more consistent, to correct minor error and improve clarity for easier business doing in the AIFC. So this is it from my side. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, happy to discuss here on Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for such informative presentation. And now we will open a Q&A session for 10 minutes. So participants, if you have any questions, you can turn on your microphone and introduce yourself and ask question. Please welcome.
Hi. My name is Samad Karmes, and I have 2 questions on the amendments that were introduced. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Samad. Yes, please.
Hello, Laura. So the first question is whether this threshold of $5 million is net of taxes. I mean, the turnover for limited liability partnership in order to submit audit reports to the IFC. Whether this threshold covers taxes as well, like VAT, for example, or not?
Well, actually, a very good question. There is no clarifications in our regulations on the taxes. I think I have to clarify this question with our internally first, and I can keep in touch to you.
Thank you. And my second question is about listed audit companies providing audit services to the AIFC participants. As you know, the list of the companies having license from the AIFC to conduct audit services is quite limited. And the question is whether we can submit audit reports confirmed by the auditor from Big Four, but the office that has issued report and signed this conclusion, audit report is outside of the AIFC, for example, from Dubai-based office or Big Four company, or from Europe or from US states.
You mean the audit firm that is not registered in the AIFC, right?
Exactly, yes. But it's still Big Four. It's a Big Four company, and they might have registered branch office in the AIFC, but the main auditor is located outside of the AIFC. And if, in order to comply with this requirement, then we need to hire local branch registered in the AIFC, and will be an additional cost for that. So the question is whether we can submit audit report signed by Big Four company, but the office of this audit company is outside of the AIFC.
Okay, I got the question. Unfortunately, the report that should be audited by an auditor should be prepared by the auditor registered and obtained the license in the AFSA. I think we cannot consider the auditors from other jurisdictions, probably only except for the groups of companies, but it will be considered case by case.
So then we can try and apply for a modification from this requirement and ask for a possibility of sending audit reports signed by auditor outside of the AIFC.
I think if the company you mentioned is the part of the group of company, so I think you can try to submit your application for modification or waiver. But I don't promise, but I think it can be considered.
Okay, thank you, Laura. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Laura, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear Daulet.
Yes, my name is Daulet. So thank you for this presentation. There is some questions. First, I want to know for the AIFC, who is the first head, chief? For example, if we have a board of directors and chief executive director, so for the AIFC, who will be first director? Do you understand my question?
Yes, I think I got your question. And if you mean the concept of director and chief executive officer, right? Director has legal power, if it could be named so, according to our legislation, and chief executive officer is not defined in our legislation. This is only the requirement of the Kazakhstani local authorities. So in all legal proceedings, and from the legal point of view, only director will have legal obligations and legal responsibilities and duties.
Yeah, thank you. Because, for example, in Kazakh legislation, only one person can be executive director and has a power, such power. There is a second question. Should I register members of the board of directors, for example, if they are not executive?
Yes, yes, you have to, because it is he or she is still a director. So all the board composition should be registered at the registration division.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Davlet. I think Asel has some questions.
Yes, I've got a question. Hello, everyone. Hello, Laura. I have a question that is related to the question that Samat asked about an audit. In legal framework portal at AFSA's portal, we've seen an example of such waiver, as we know, as it's called. It is called a no action letter that was issued for Kazakhstan Energy Reinsurance Company Ltd, and it was issued on the 2nd of February 2021. And it said that due to the auditor was not registered in the AIFC yet, it was allowed for this company to involve an auditor who is licensed under the Republic of Kazakhstan audit law and licensing. I would like to ask if this practice is still alive, if a company which, for example, has registered in the AIFC recently, and this company has concluded an audit contract for the whole group of company before it became an AIFC registrant.
Mm-hmm. First of all, Kazakhstan Energy Reinsurance Company is an authorized firm, and I believe that this waiver or modification was granted by the AFSA regulatory office, not by the registrar, because they have their own obligations to the regulatory division. So I think this question is better to be addressed to the regulatory division. Yes, but again, if the company, I understand that the audit requirements and requirements to auditors is probably a little bit complicated for most of companies. So I think if the company is a group of company, I think they may try to apply for modification or waiver.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Asel. So, Damili, do we have still time?
Yes, we have time for one question. Please welcome. One question.
I saw some questions in the chat.
Yes. Yes, the record will be available. And
yes, the presentation can be shared later to the email, and the record also will be available for 2 weeks or 1 month in social media, in LinkedIn. This is the first question, and
okay.
yeah.
Dear participants, thank you for all your questions, and Laura, thank you too. We are moving forward, and next speaker, Anara Umarova, Senior Associate from Registration Division, will share with us post-registration processes. So Anara, you're welcome.
Sorry, again. Dear Demily, thank you for introducing me. Dear attendees, let me start my topic, online post-registration process. As you now know, we have launched the platform for online post-registration process, which is very similar to online registration. During the presentation, you will see the whole process of automated post-registration process, which consists on application submission of already registered participants and application processing by AIFC. In order to start with the process, applicant shall open the browser and proceed to the website digitalresident.kz. Then to start using the portal, user need to register in the portal. And once the user logged into the portal, homepage will be displayed. The applicant shall open the post-registration tab and then press the button New Application. Afterwards, the applicant shall enter BIN of the organization and then press the button Check BIN. Next, applicant must identify his role within the company, eligible to submit the post-registration applications, and then press the button Next. As you can see in the screen, CEO is going to submit the post-registration application. Then CEO needs to enter his EIN number and then press the button Check EIN. Afterwards, applicant must enter verification code from email sent to the registered entities CEO and then press the button Check Code. Next, applicant shall select what kind of post-registration events he is going to submit. In the screen, you can see that the applicant is going to change a legal entity name, director, and update details of the secretary. After there is a progress of the application process at the top, where user can see which stage of the process he is performing. When the applicant will finish filling out all the sections, he may save changes, he may proceed to the next stage, or he can go back to the previous stage, or at the same time, if the applicant decides to submit more applications, he can press the button Add Post-Registration Event. Once the applicant filled out all the sections, user has the option to review all the application and then proceed with the payment. In our case, we can see in the screen that that the applicant is going to pay online and to pay by individual. Then applicant shall enter his credentials of the credit card. And once user entered credit card information and made a payment, system will display the results of transaction. After the user should press the button back to the site, and he will see in the screen that the payment has been successfully. And in the end, the applicant may observe in the portal the status of the application. we can see here in the screen that the status is completed, and then he may obtain the required certificate. As we applied for name change, the applicant may download his certificate of name change from the portal. At the same time, all the changes shall be automated, shall be updated automatically in the public register. Another important point, it's the verification process through the KYC. Participants who were registered online, they know about this process, how to proceed it. This is obligatory for proceeding post-registration process when registered details of individual are changing. For example, when you're changing director or secretary, authorized person, CEO, or shareholder, you need to proceed with this verification process. This process of identification and verification of the identity, KYC process is applied to avoid having commercial relations with people related to terrorism, corruption, or money laundering, for example. More detailed information how to proceed this verification process you can find in the portal Digital Resident. Now, at the screen, you can see all the post-registration events which were implemented in the portal. Highlighted with red, these events shall be approved by the officers from registration division. At the screen, you can see all available post-registration services. The rest post-registration services will be available later when the integration with the Ministry of Justice or other state bodies will be implemented. And in the end of my presentation, I would like to share with you about key features. First of all, this portal is a fully self-service portal. It's very easy to use. It is integrated with state bodies of Kazakhstan and ASA Public Register. It is very convenient to get reminders and notices, and you can online submit reports. And the main important point is processing time. If before paper-based applications took 1 or 2 days, now online applications can be submitted and you can complete it in 2 minutes. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please, I'm ready to respond.
Anara, thanks for the step-by-step instruction of post-registration process. Dear participants, you are welcome to ask your questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aisha. Anara, thank you for your presentation. And if you let me, I would like to ask a couple of questions.
Yes, sure. I'm listening.
Okay, my question is, I understand that this is a new project of digitalization and it's more time efficient, but I'm interested in whether will it be possible to submit notices in a traditional way, I mean in a previous way through email, for example, because considering that the payment process might differ when payment is made by a legal entity and there's a need for active rendered services. So my question is, will it be possible to submit in a previous way?
Okay, understand your question. Yes, sure, this is possible. You can submit by traditional way, as we practiced until today. There is no problem with it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Anara, if you don't mind, I have another question as well.
Listening.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I want to say thank you to you and Laura, because you were also very helpful while we were working with AIFC. Well, this is everything very new to all of us. Thank you very much for that, for your support. And I have one question. I have actually a couple of those. First of all, the system that you presented today, is it possible that a consultant can make the registration of the post-registration services for the client? Is it something that you thought about when you implemented that? Or only the participant, the companies that are registered, only they can register as users and then go and get their post-registration services?
Let me share. Do you see my screen again?
I do, and I've seen the authorized person there.
Just a moment. So here, do you see what here is in the screen? You can see people who can submit, who can enter to the registration to this portal and act from on behalf of the company. CEO, authorized signatory, director, secretary, authorized person. So these people can enter the portal and act from the company.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up. So as a consultant, I will be an authorized person who has a power of attorney to proceed with the services that we need. And that means that when we go to the next page, when we introduce the identification number, the person who has the power of attorney should put in his IN, right?
For example, if you are authorized person, email will be sent to the authorized person, and this verification code shall be entered to proceed.
Oh, so no IN is needed on the second page, on the following page.
No, email is needed.
If you can just go to the next slide, number 5, you see how there is an IN that we have to, please enter the IN. That's the first one, like for the CEO.
This is the separate case. In this case, CEO shall enter his IN number. For example, if other people like authorized signatory, director, or secretary, or others will enter the portal, in that case, email will be sent to that person, and then verification code again shall be entered in the system, and then you will press check code.
Perfect, thank you. So that's very helpful, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of consultants there will not be comfortable putting their personal information into the system. And the other question that I have, I saw the fee of 200 USD. That's the fee for any service, right? For any type?
200. Sorry, this here.
Yeah.
No, this is not the truth.
That's just okay.
Yes, it's just the picture. Sorry for.
But that's okay. Can we know the fees then?
Yes, it's 50 USD as usual.
It's still 50. Okay, great.
50. Yes.
Okay. Great. I think I've got all that I needed. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Hello, Laura. This is Samat speaking. My question is about a company which has been registered before introduction of a digital resident portal. Is there any way to put this company details into the digital resident portal? I mean, in the list of my application, for example, or if there is a need to put this company details. For example, if I need to make some post-registration amendments through digital resident portal.
Can you clarify again? So did you register before online, or your application was submitted offline by paper?
It was submitted on offline by paper back in 2019, I think. And now when we have this digital resident portal, and in case we need to make some amendments, let's say change of registration details, for example, can I apply for this post-registration services for digital resident portal, even if this company is not in the list of my applications on the portal?
Yes, of course, all the participants, it doesn't matter. It was registered online or offline. They can register in the portal and proceed with the post-registration.
So there is no need to put details of this company into the list of applications?
No need. There is no need.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Do you have more questions?
Dear Anara, may I please ask one more question? It's Aisha Rozendekova. My question is connected with Samat's previous question. So do I understand correctly that on the digital resident portal, we need to register and log in as a company? I mean, as an AIFC participant, not as a physical person, for example, authorized signatory or authorized person. So we need to register and log in as a company, and then after that indicate who is applying, right?
Only AIFC participants can use this portal, I mean post-registration portal, because you need to enter your BIN of organization of a company. Afterwards, you need to select who is applying. I wanted to share again. So you see now, first you need to register in the portal. Any person can register. But afterwards, you need to enter your BIN of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
After you entered BIN of organization, the portal, the system will ask who you are. Are you CEO authorized or etc.? Are you eligible to submit the post-registration application? So you need to answer to these questions.
Okay, so I see that I need to read, for example, I'm a representative of an AIFC participant company, and I need to register my personal account on this portal. And after that, I can submit, for example, applications on behalf of various companies registered in AIFC if I'm authorized.
Right, you can use you can use in the portal. You can use this page for many companies. You can represent different companies. It doesn't mean that you need to make post-registration process only with one company. You see here the screen, registered entities. It means that all your registered entities, you can see all your registered entities through one page.
Yes, I see. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Anara, we have one question in chat. How much time will it take to process an application submitted through digital portal?
I think it depends on the person, how fast, how quickly he will do it. But I think it is very easy to use. Maybe it depends on the post-registration event. If it is very short, for example, to get an extract, it is very easy. You need to click all the sections and then submit. Maybe it will take 5 minutes. But if you would like to transfer of shares or if you would like to apply for more difficult post-registration applications, maybe it will take time. maybe for 1 hour, for example.
Nara, I have another question. This is Samuel speaking. I can't recall whether there is a service on obtaining EIN for a foreigner is available.
Yes, I think this service is also available, but I cannot comment on this. You need to register in the portal, or maybe to address to the department to digital department who created this portal. Laura, am I agree? I think
yes, Samat, this is a separate process, and this process is not included to the registration division's responsibilities, and it relates to the AIFC Expat Center, and you have to clarify with the AIFC Expat Center whether they already launched the online process for obtaining EIN or not.
Laura, it was already launched. I saw the information.
Okay. Samat, we can help you to clarify this issue with our IT and digital support team, and later I will let you know, okay?
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tatiana. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tatiana, I can hear you.
Nara, Laura, could you please help me? I have a question related to the registration of the companies. For example, if I register a company as a consultant based on the power of attorney, how should I provide this power of attorney, and what are the requirements to this power of attorney?
So I think here's two ways. So the powers can be provided in the resolution of the incorporators, where they have to state that the incorporator and shareholder gives you some authorities to sign the application before and after the registration, or you also may provide the power of attorney in the free form.
In the free form, could you please clarify?
Yes, in the free form, yes. We don't have any templates for power of attorney.
Okay, and what about apostille and notarized form? Is that required?
No, it is not required to us.
Okay, thank you.
Dear Anara, hello. May I ask one question, please? My name is Damesh. I have one question in regards of the address change, legal address change. If our address has been changed, and I understood that we may use this online portal to make relevant changes in database of AFSA, right? And you told that this portal is connected with the government register. Does it mean that if we apply this application, inform AFSA, and then all our information will be updated in government register too? Or we should send some notice to government register separately? Thank you.
Thank you, Damesh, for your question. You don't need to address separately. Everything you will do from this portal. It will be automatically changed in the state databases, and it will be automatically changed in AFSA public register.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And the second question, if we prefer to use the payment by company, we will receive a separate invoice, make payment, and only after that the process will go forward, right?
Yes, you can choose. You can pay by organization, and you can download this invoice from the portal. And after making the payment, you need to download payment confirmation to the portal and then submit your application.
Thank you very much, Anara.
Welcome. Other questions?
Anara, sorry, it is Damesh again. One question, last question, I guess. As soon as we update all the information online by this portal of AFSA, how much time it takes to update the information in state databases? This question is important for us because our company was registered last year in February, and we need to provide annual confirmation form. And I guess that the first step for us is to update our address online in your portal and then send this confirmation, right?
You can do it both together.
Oh, great.
You can choose several events at the same time. So you can see in the screen now, add post-registration event, or look at the screen. Please select the post-registration application, so you can choose change the address. And sorry, here maybe it is not seen, but you also can apply for submission confirmation statement.
Oh, great, great, thank you.
So, dear attendees, thank you. I think time is over. If there is no questions, we want to thank you all for joining us and have a good weekend. And please remember, we are doing our best to improve services to you.
Dear participants, thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please, you can address to me, to the email post-registration AFSA-KZ. I will be happy to respond to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you all.
And thank you all. Thank you very much. I think it was a very interesting discussion today, very actively. So thank you for your questions.